Beware of spoilers, you have been warned.
The Mighty Nine show has released some months ago, but right now, I'm gonna look back on its original campaign. Starting campaign 2, I was just missing Vox Machina. I think the individual Mighty Nine characters are way more fun than the Vox Machina characters, but I like the Vox Machina as a group more than I like Mighty Nine as a group. Does that make sense? I once saw a comment saying how Vox Machina is the Avengers and Mighty Nine is the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians are so chaotic and fun and we love to see them, but the Avengers hold a special place in our hearts. So the first two crit roll teams feel the same. It was really hard for me to get into campaign 2. It was just a slow burn for me as it literally took half the campaign for me to really be invested in the plot. With campaign 1, the Briarwoods came in and it was over for me. But campaign 2, it wasn't until the Laughing Hand showed up and I was like, wait, what? That being said, the first arcs were not bad and I still enjoyed watching them. The Gentleman was cool, their Pirates era was peak chaos. Like, this is when the group really found their stride. Discovering the Happy Fun Ball, getting to Jorhas and meeting with the Bright Queen, opening the door to the political complexities our group is in, meeting Essek. Oh yeah, and that one time a player character died? We'll get to that later. But like I said, as much as I enjoyed the first arcs, the Laughing Hand showed up, Yasha was possessed, and I was awake. This was a brilliant way of building up Ashley's permanent place on Critical Role. No more back and forths and Zoom calls. Blind Spot was over, and Ashley's here forever. And just as the dust settled on this arc, Traveler Con was on the horizon. I loved the Labyrinth Goblin King dynamic the Traveler had with Jester. He was this mysterious figure that was the punchline of many of Jester's comedic moments thus far. And guess what? It was Garmelie the whole time! Artagan from Campaign 1 made his way to the material plane and caused mayhem. But Traveler Con did not just host the most chaotic events of the campaign. It tied a loose end from Campaign 1. Mighty Nine found the island from Lost, and who was there waiting for them? Keyleth's mom. That was a loose thread. People that started Campaign 2 for some reason without seeing 1, just could not get how crazy that reveal was. They were probably like, who even is Keyleth? Now the final arc. Mollymauk was a phenomena. Taliesin comes in with this cool character. The vibes, the aesthetic, the personality, he had it all. And then he died. 25 episodes in. Now, of Molly, Bo, Knott, and Caleb, the one to die in that particular fight, of course it ended up being Molly. And I bet Matt was so happy it was. The Lucian mystery had already been touched upon. The Back from the Dead scene was there from Arc 1. Bo, Knott, and Caleb would have just died. End of story. But not Molly. Want to talk about unfinished business? I give you the Nonagon. The final arc was all over the place. Lucian is back. The whole Vestaragna murder. Exploring the Arctic Circle. Learning about Aor and the Calamity. Oh wait, Ichthon is still on our tails just to spruce it up. There's just so much happening, and at the end of all things, it's our very own Mollymauk who is the final boss. Wasn't the Stranger Things series finale basically this final boss as well? Crazy. What's even crazier is how full circle we came. Caduceus, Molly's replacement. He's been the chill Furbolg, never knowing what's going on, just happy to be there. Taliesin, playing a cleric of the Wild Mother, rolls divine intervention just for the lulz. We loved No Mercy Percy for his nut 20s, but Caduceus's greatest role was low AF, and in the end, Taliesin saved his own damn character from death. And now we got Kingsley. What the hell, man? Favorite character this campaign? Jester, hands down. The chaos, the personality. Love her relationship with her mom. Love her story with the Traveler. Loved her story with Sprinkles. Remember that time she saved the world with a cupcake? Vex wouldn't been able to pull that off. Nott and Caleb are a close second for me. I love them together and individually. I love Nott and Jester together and individually. They really owned campaign 2 for me. Favorite players are Travis, Laura, and Taliesin. I mean, Taliesin is so great at the game, not just with his characters, but he drops golden one-liners that nobody notices, and he created a character in both campaigns that delivered insane arcs. Laura is just a master of improv, and Travis is the residential hype man. Every party should have a Travis. Also, Matt. He's always the game master you wish you could be. His world building skills are unmatched, and I don't know what it was, but he was killing it with the NPCs this campaign. Now, in terms of campaigns, I prefer Vox Machina, but when the animated shows are out and done with, I think Mighty Nine will be my favorite between the two. I'm so protective over Vox Machina, so I've been iffy with the changes in the show. Mighty Nine, they just gotta do the characters justice. I'm not too attached to the story as I am with the characters, so the Mighty Nine animation will never do wrong in my eyes, if that makes any sense. Really excited for Campaign 3, just finished the Crown Keepers mini-campaign, ready for more Fern content, and of course, I already know this campaign ends with the Avengers Infinity War for whatever reason, so this is gonna be crazy. Game of the Week, Trails in the Sky 1 and 2. Trails in the Sky is carried by Estelle and Joshua, and honestly, that's more than enough. Their dynamic is stupidly cute. Estelle's feisty optimism bouncing off Joshua's cool, calm collectiveness makes for a solid dynamic. I ship them hard, Your Honor. But of course, in JRPG fashion, there's a bit of a slow burn to get through the whole plot, but that only works when you have such a likable cast of characters like this game does. While this series tends to be wholesome and makes you super connected to the characters through various interactions, there's always a darker theme intertwined through the whole main story, and that is shown as early as this first game. The slow pacing pays off once Joshua's backstory comes into focus, because what do you mean our baby boy is a former child assassin? His whole plot is, about who Joshua was raised to be versus who he's trying to become, and this also becomes the center of his dynamic with Estelle and their journey together. The game ends with a tragic cliffhanger as our party splits, with Joshua on the road to self-discovery as he faces his truth. The supporting cast also deserves respect. Sharo's big sister but also mother-like energy, mother. Agate as the gruffy big brother to our little sister Tita. Chloe being her bestie, but then hold on, she's actually the princess, hello? Gameplay-wise, Trails surprised me. I'm not a turn-based girly either, but this is one of those systems where positioning, turn manipulation, and Ormet customization actually kept me engaged. It's not flashy, but it's thoughtful, and once it clicks, it's kind of fun when I'm in the mood. Trails in the Sky's second chapter is where the emotional payoff is. The lack of Joshua and Estelle content early on is made up for with that ending sequence. The kiss, the fall, that cutscene, I cried. I'm not even ashamed. It's one of those moments that feels earned because they've both grown so much as people since the beginning of the first game. Their love story is genuinely one of the best parts of the series. Now, Olivier Lenheim, I need everyone to stand up. Olivier got that riz. Flamboyant, clever, intelligent, layers upon layers. His charm isn't just comic relief, it's a weapon. You definitely see that in Steel. I mean, he's got connections. He knows everybody and everything. He's always steps ahead. People is where it's at for him. He's a people person. His story unfolds over time. His chemistry with Shara, immaculate. His low-key bisexual energy that the game never feels the need to tone down or explain. His constant reappearances across the franchise are also so hype. It's also good. And yes, Matt Mercer voicing him later is just the cherry on top for me. I'm obsessed. Trails knew exactly what it was doing with him. The setup and the story for the third game just did not hit for me at all. After the emotional high of second chapter, I just didn't care enough to revisit it in the way I happily revisited first and second. I bounced straight to Cold Steel. Still, as a duology, Trails in the Sky 1 and 2 tell a heartfelt, character-driven story, and honestly, the Trail series has been quite the guilty pleasure of mine, and it's been fun skipping through the franchise again. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. They found the hobbits in Isengard! Isn't Saruman's death an extended version thing? Because first of all, I only watched the extended versions ever, and second of all, bruh, that was a crazy way to go. It's so unintentionally funny, like he is impaled and left in the mud and is never brought up again after basically being Gandalf's rival for so long.
Fool of a took.
Merry and Pippin really step up. I mean, they helped the Ents take back their land, but they didn't really do much in terms of direct action. Here we see Merry fighting in big battles, and Pippin trying to help Faramir, dealing with his crazy-ass dad. Denethor had to go. Like, how satisfying was it for you to see Gandalf given a good bonk with a stick?
The beacons are lit! Gun knuckles for 8! And Rohan will answer.
The faith in Frodo is astronomical. These are hard battles, with every victory met with a sense of dread, knowing that the darkness may never stop as long as the Eye of Sauron still stands. Every battle is a losing battle. Gondor fights and expects death, but still hope for humanity remains as they unite under a common goal. While all of humanity struggles to see the end of all of this tragedy and darkness, Frodo struggles to see himself in the Shire. Watching Gollum, expecting the same fate of madness or even death as a result of this mission, Sam being the beacon of hope for all of us. I don't know why, but every time I have a marathon, I forget that Sam is carrying all of his pans, and at some point during Return of the King, I'm like, bro, he's been carrying all these pans the entire trilogy. Ha 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 ha.
Don't go where I can't follow.
Gah! The spider is disgusting! Rohan answering the call and joining the fight is one of the best parts for sure.
I am no man.
That still only counts as one!
It wasn't called Hero of the Ring, but Fellowship of the Ring. Frodo and Aragorn both had destinies to fulfill, but not even the greatest heroes can accomplish greatness on their own.
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
The anti-racism arc between Gimli and Legolas seems to go amiss to some people just because both actors are white, but in this fictional universe, seeing both set aside their discrimination to respect each other as warriors and friends is such a major theme that needs to be talked about more and correctly.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you! Glad to be with you, Samwise Gamgee. Here at the end of all things.
This is the part of the movie where I start to cry nonstop for about 30 minutes. You watch those extended versions, this is a long journey for sure. The weight of everything they went through and everything they fight for is felt. Aragorn and company fight a battle they know they'll lose just on the glimmer of hope that Frodo is in Mordor, and Sam gives everything he has to making sure Frodo gets up that damn mountain so he can have his final conversation with Smeagol and be rid of the ring once and for all.
My friends, you bow to no one.
Aragorn is crowned and Gondor has a king once more. He reunites with Arwen, and they live happily ever after. The hobbits are seen as heroes of all Middle-earth as they return to the little burrows in the Shire. I don't think anyone can ever praise Howard Shore enough for his music. He just doubles the emotional impact this story already has. and quite the story it has been.
We set out to save the Shire, Sam. And it has been saved. But not for me.
We say our goodbyes, and we all just want to start all over when those credits hit. It's even more emotional when we deep dive into the aftermath outside of the books. Merry and Pippin were entombed next to Aragorn after they died. Sam went to the Undying Lands to reunite with Frodo, and after Aragorn's death, Legolas built his ship, and he also went to the Undying Lands with Gimli, the Fellowship remaining together forever. I'm crying. Outside of being a fangirl, this movie was objectively great, probably one of the greatest films I've ever seen. It won all 11 Academy Awards it was nominated for. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Score, Best Original Song, Best Visual Effects, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Editing. All very much deserved. These films had every element they needed to be great. This was an insane and raw and ambitious film project that has stood the test of time, and I can hardly compare it to any other film series. Speaking of kings, star of the week from the very top of the British acting royalty. Ian McKellan was born in England right in the middle of World War II. His toddler years were spent at the peak of the war, and his childhood saw the recovery of the country in a new era of peace. Theater was part of his life growing up. His theater was involved in theater. Ian was a fan as a kid and eventually started participating in local theater as early as high school. He grew up in Shakespeare's country and definitely took advantage of that. He studied English Lit at Cambridge, where he was also very active in the university's theater scene. He entered the professional theater scene in 1961, made his West End debut in 1965, and it was all uphill from there. Ian McKellen's theater career is the foundation of his entire legacy. I mean, he defined modern British acting after joining the Royal Shakespeare Company in the 60s. He became renowned for Shakespearean roles such as Richard II, Richard III, Macbeth, Winter's Tale, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, Twelfth Night, and King Lear. Alongside the classics, McKellan also starred in plays like the award-winning play Bent. He's worked on stage with other legends like Judi Dench and, of course, Patrick Stewart. They did Waiting for Godot together that one time. That was pretty awesome. He currently has a total of 67 theater productions, if I counted correctly, about 15 with the Royal Shakespeare Company, over 10 West End productions, and about 5 Broadway productions. When I say things like real British actors come from the theater, Ian is exactly why I say this. Ian dabbled in film through the 70s and 80s. Some of his early films include The Promise, Priest of Love, and Scandal. He did an on-screen adaptation of Richard III with Robert Downey Jr. He was in Rasputin as Tsar Nicholas next to Alan Rickman, who played Rasputin himself. He had a couple of scenes with Daniel Radcliffe in David Copperfield. Some other films include And the Band Played On, the film adaptation of Bent, The Last Action Hero, Restoration, Jack and Sarah, Xena, Apt Pupil, Swept from the Sea, and 6 Degrees of Separation. Entering the new century, Ian McKellan became an international sensation. He may have been a seasoned thespian well known in the UK, but now, at the fresh age of 60, the world will know his name. The year 2000 saw Magneto portrayed on screen for the first time, with Ian McKellan bringing the villain to life in the first X-Men films. The first movie was in a new era of superhero films that would eventually push for the Avengers. He reprised the role in X2, Last Stand, and Days of Future Past, and, of course, eventually, Avengers Doomsday, it seems. Sharing the screen with his best friend Patrick Stewart, we love to see them. Revolutionary for the action genre, yes. And you know what revolutionized the fantasy genre for film at the exact same time? Lord of the Rings. The penultimate on-screen adaptation that Tolkien's story was waiting for. Not just revolutionary for fantasy, these films were film at its finest. The filming process was raw and chaotic. What they did over there in New Zealand was insane. Ian was an important part of this as our favorite wizard Gandalf.
Yes, that was what they used to call me. Gandalf the Gay.
There's no one else I'd rather get spun around at the top of a tower by Christopher Lee. He also reprised the role in all 3 Hobbit films like 10 years later. A bit more mid, but there is a time and place for those movies, and it was good to see Gandalf again. He's still been pretty busy over the years, doing award-worthy projects like The Dresser, King Lear, and The Prisoner. He's also done Churchill, The Da Vinci Code, Stardust, The Christophers, Never Was, The Good Liar, and Mr. Holmes. Being the legend that he is, the accolades speak for themselves. 2 Academy Award nominations for Gods and Monsters and Fellowship of the Ring. 4 BAFTA nominations for Richard III, Fellowship, Return of the King, and The Dresser. 5 Emmy nominations for And the Band Played On, Rasputin, Extras, King Lear, and The Prisoner. 1 Golden Globe win for Rasputin with 2 other nominations for Richard III and Gods and Monsters. 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards with Fellowship and Return of the King, and 2 other nominations for Gods and Monsters and Two Towers. 1 Tony win for Amadeus and another nomination for Acting Shakespeare. Laurence Olivier Awards. Like, what the heck? This dude is stacked. 5 wins out of 11 nominations, winning with Pillars of the Community, The Alchemist, Bent, Wild Honey, and Richard III.
All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
Ian McKellan has definitely made use of his time here on Earth. We're so lucky to have him. The UK should be proud. Speaking of pride, he's gay! He's basically the grandfather of the LGBTQ plus community. As a lesbian and a fan, I'm very happy to say this.
That's it for this week. Be sure to follow this podcast and please follow my Twitter and blog at Hollis Films to follow my journey experiencing the entertainment industry's greatest stories. And let me know what you've been fangirling over this week. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you again next week.